let's say his wingspan is very big. I couldn't even tell you one thing that happened in this book, actually. And then she called his hug a recharging station. Hello and welcome back to this new video of mine. A long time no see. I have a very clear reason why I haven't uploaded in 9 months almost now. Wow, that sounds crazy, but I gotta say, like, I kind of needed the break as well. Like, it was involuntarily. I actually was writing my bachelor thesis and it was a lot, like way more than I thought it would be. So I didn't really have enough time, and I was also not in the right headspace to keep on creating videos at that moment. Your girl is officially a graduate now, so that's out of the question now. We can move on from that. I missed you severely, and I know, like, you don't see it, but I've filmed a ton of videos. While I was gone, I made so many videos and I was so excited to, like, upload them for you, but I just didn't get around to editing them, because a video for me can take up to 10 to 20 hours of editing, sometimes even more. It's a long process. It's a long process to get this video out. It's not just the filming, which can sometimes take up to 1 to 2 weeks or even longer, depends on the video. I hope that we're gonna move into a new chapter, into a better channel, into something that we can all resonate with and that we're happy with. So I think this is actually one of the first few times that I'm now doing a reading wrap-up for you guys. I'm gonna talk about the books I read in August, and surprisingly, personally, I was really surprised that I finished 13 books. In a good month, I was reading 7. So now that I have more time on my hands and I discovered audiobooks, I'm reading way more. So BookBeat has been saving my life. This is not sponsored, by the way, but I'm listening to audiobooks all the time. Like, this is how I get my books done recently. And my Kindle. Kindle's also saving me. I don't know if this means I'm in a book slump or something. I honestly have no clue. I don't know what I'm doing with my hair either. It's just annoying me at this point. I'm sorry, guys. I would say let's get right into it without further ado and without yapping all that much longer. I'm gonna get out my phone for a second because I have all the books on here. A heads up, I did read 2 nonfiction books, but I'm gonna put them at the end of the video, so if you're not interested in that, you can just click out at that point. Like, I've been reading a bit more nonfiction recently, so there's just a reason why. So this is how we're gonna incorporate that new chapter now, okay? I think this is just how we're gonna do it these days. So the first book that I want to talk to you is The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. This is my second Christina Lauren book. I read, it's somewhere here, wait a second. Love and Other Words. I read that last year with you guys as well, I think. Rated it 5 stars. I don't support that anymore. To be honest, I don't think this is 5-star behavior. So this is apparently the second one in a series. I did not read the first one. I actually have it here, but I was reading this with a friend of mine, so that's why we started with that one, because she didn't have the first one. Actually, what is in here? Oh, I still have the receipt in here. It's because I read, like, the first chapter on here, and then I was like, I'm not vibing with this. I need to listen to the audiobook, so that's actually how I got through it. What I find very interesting is the premise of this. Like, it's super creative. Fizzy is her name, like Felicity, but everyone calls her Fizzy, and Connor. And what I like about this is the creative premise of this. So basically, Fizzy is a romance author. She's in a writing blog. She doesn't know if she still believes in love. And then there's Connor, who is a documentary producer, I think. Yeah, documentary filmmaker. He now is creating a reality TV show where she's supposed to take the lead and is then gonna find her true love, basically. Like, we're following them creating and being in this documentary, I was just about to say, no, reality TV show, which super intriguing, super exciting premise. Yeah, but it wasn't giving summer for me. I don't know, like, it was not giving much at all, honestly. So I gave it a 3-star. As I said, the premise already 1 star up, you know? The writing style was good, was fine. Like, everything was good about it in technicality. I just couldn't connect to the characters, and it all felt very superficial. Felicity started to get on my nerves so much because she was just always driving the point home of, like, having a sexual connection instead of, like, a really deep-rooted one. So she always tried to get Connor to actually have sex with her, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, why do you want to make it casual if we all know that you're starting to get feelings for him, right? And for him the other way around as well. He didn't want to have sex with her, but I felt like she was pushing the topic way too much. She was pushing it way too much to have it casual. Why? Like, I knew exactly how they're gonna resolve this issue, how they're gonna resolve the problem, how they're gonna find their happy ever after. Like, I could see it already, because after you've read a lot of books, and also if you're into writing and understanding plot lines, you know. Like, you know. If
you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, like, I honestly feel bad for you.
Like, it was nothing surprising for me in this. It didn't feel like the characters had a ton of depth to them. Of course, we had a character development. We saw why they were the way they were. The third act breakup for me was something where I was just like, I understand, but also not really. It was all just being dramatized for no actual reason. So for me, solid 3 stars. I would still recommend it to you if the premise is exciting to you, but I'm not gonna read it again, you know? Like, it's one of those. Like, I'm not gonna pick it back up, but I don't hate it. It's just neutral, like in between, 3 star, you know? The next book I read is one that I actually cannot wait to talk to you about. It's Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I also annotated this one a little bit. I had this on my bookshelf for over a year now. I've been seeing people years ago raving about this series, and as you can see, oh, you cannot see, but I actually bought the other 2 in the series as well because I loved this so much. Like, this was way better than I expected it to be. For me, when I read the premise of this, I was like, what is it even about? Like, we have a bad boy type of guy that's like grumpy, and then we have Meet Sunshine, and I don't really love that trope. I don't really care. Like, if she's a sunshine and he's a grumpy boy, like, give me something more. Give me something original. But then when I started this, it was really more than I thought it would be. So Naomi is the main character in this, as well as Knox, and Naomi is running from her wedding to a guy that we all hate. Like, no. Good that she ran from him. So she runs from her wedding, and then she wants to save her sister. She has a twin sister. And for me, the vibes that this was giving, like the twin sister connection, was giving Vampire Diaries, Elena and Catherine. You know, like that type of thing. Like, they're basically the exact opposite. And her twin sister is just chaos incarnated. Like, it's insane. I don't even want to say too much, but she basically runs off, steals from Naomi, steals her car, steals her money, even though Naomi wanted to help her. And then she leaves Naomi for a few days or whatever. She says, like, she's like, yeah, can you watch my daughter for a little bit, like for some time? So that daughter is 11 or 12 years old. 11-year-old, yeah. Now Naomi is stuck in a small town. No one knows. She doesn't know anyone. And she has now suddenly a niece to take care of. She has no job, no husband anymore, or fiance. So she's basically back to square zero, but she meets Knox when she gets there. Like, Knox is hating her from the get-go because he thinks that she's her twin sister. And there were just so many twists and turns, and it was always comedic. There was so much creativity poured into this. I was hooked. I didn't want to stop reading. It was such a good summer book as well. Such a cozy small town. I loved this. It was like coffee and Gilmore Girls, but also like so much chaos and drama, like Vampire Diaries. And I was like, I don't know, I'm just obsessed. Like, this was so good. I rated this 5 stars because of a feeling. I had a feeling, okay? And I still stand by that. It's very spicy, like good spicy. Knox is just the best, but can we just talk about that one scene where he pees into his front porch, and apparently he does that every morning? That is weird to me. Like, that is something where I was really tempted to deduct it a star. I need to just ignore that that happened, basically. Like, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm ignoring that that ever happened, that I ever read that, and yeah, Knox is just the guy besides that one scene, you know? So we're just gonna skip it. And also the third act breakup made sense, but I'm just not a fan of third act breakups. That's just what it is, you know? Like, I'm not a big fan of those. So for me, it's always like, we get it. You're separated. Can we now move on? But still, it's just the vibe that this gave. I couldn't not give it 5 stars. But is it a masterpiece? Literarily, what? Speaking in a literary sense, it's not a masterpiece. We can still love this, right? But I also understand, like, I think you also just need to give it a go, or if you've already read it and you hated it, I also understand. Like, I'm here seeing both sides, you know, but for the time that I was reading this, it was what I needed and what I was in the mood for, so it was great. Loved it. I don't really know how to describe it, but it felt nostalgic in a way. And those books are just my favorite, you know? The next book I read was Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. Sorry, guys. I annotated the crap out of this. Can you see this? It's intense. Like, I love her Dreamland Billionaires. No, I loved the first book in her Dreamland Billionaire series, The Fine Print, and I especially love her Lakefront Billionaire series. First one was Love Redesigned, and here's Love Unwritten, and the third one I also have standing right over here. I'm really excited to get to that one. And here we're following Raphael, I think he's wow, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. No, I think it's Raphael and Ellie, and Raphael is a single dad and she's the nanny, but that's not all it is, of course. The boy in this is so cute. I love him. He's the best. Like, he has a condition where he slowly starts to lose his eyesight more and more and more. So this is a big plot also in this book, how they're gonna handle him potentially going blind at one point, because they don't know. So there's also a lot of trauma that Raphael went through in his like early days in his childhood, because he got adopted by his aunt basically. So there's a lot going on in this family, and Ellie is just kind of in between and kind of rolls with the chaos. They also go on a family trip to Hawaii. So I loved that setting. I loved that a lot of things unfolded there. And it was just the perfect summer read. It's so good. Like, I love Lauren Asher. I love her. Like, you can tell. Like, I'm sorry. You can tell that this is a 5-star, right? Like, who am I kidding? Let me see if I can find a quote. Oh, I didn't make an annotation key. Am I for real right now? Usually I'm so organized. And then that. Okay, who am I kidding? Me? Organized? Pfft. He marks my skin with invisible tattoos in the shape of his lips. Ooh. This is gonna pull at your heartstrings, that's for sure, but it's such a good read. And I loved Redesigned a little bit more, I think, just because it was an interior designer and an architect, and they were working together to create a new house and everything, and it was so fun. So I think the first one was a bit more up my alley, but this one I still loved. Oh, and she's a songwriter. True, she's a songwriter, and we have a lot of music things in here. It's super fun. Super good. I'm getting warm. Like, yapping for so many like minutes, it gets you heated up, I swear. The next book, which I finally read, was Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. So this one I am a bit torn. I feel like it's a 4 to 4.5 star. I think I'm gonna settle with a 4-star, because the thing here is, like, Archer is a very secluded boy. He has a lot of trauma that he like endured in his childhood, and it was a really heavy book. Like, it was a heavy topic. It was not something that you can read lightly. And then we also have, wait, what's her name? Bree. And Bree experienced a lot of trauma recently because her dad died in front of her. I would say if there are trigger warnings, I'm not sure right now, but if there are, please read them before. I was not aware of the torment this would put me through. The reason why I loved this more, like why I would rate it 4.5 stars, is because I got the annotated version. So if you can, I would highly recommend this one to you. A lot of stylistic choices and plot lines that the author chose to put in there made a lot more sense for me when I read her annotations. Otherwise, I doubt that I would have rated it 4.5, maybe more 4 or 3.5. There were themes in this and points in this book where I was a bit annoyed with the characters, or where I felt like I wasn't fully in it, I wasn't fully connected, and that changed when I read her annotations. Like, I understood it way more. I understood why things were being put that way. It is a very delicate topic, so I'm not gonna be able to sit here and explain everything in detail to you. I think it's best if you read it. I understand why people rate it 5 stars. 100% I understand. I understand why it's someone's favorite book out there. It's just, for me, I had it so hyped up in my mind that I don't think it could have even come close to that, because I was expecting this to be a 5-star, and I think that was the biggest fault. I could have gone like into this thinking that. Honestly, I can recommend this to you, but please really read the trigger warnings. This is intense. I don't know, it made me sometimes feel sick to my stomach, and not just things that happened, but it also impacted how I felt about their dynamic, because it felt a bit like they were almost together in a toxic kind of way, like that they were clinging to one another in a not so healthy manner. So I don't know, honestly. I don't know. Archer cannot speak, by the way. That's why it's called Archer's Voice, because he finds his voice back with Bree. So he is someone who cannot really, he just cannot speak. So I think this was handled very, very well though. Like, I was afraid how we would, for example, have sign language be presented in here, how we would be able to still get a good reading flow, but I was never out of the flow when it came to how they talked about this or how they dealt with that. So I think this was really delicately written. I think it was a masterpiece in the way it was written and the way the work was done. Here's also the legend of Chiron the Centaur, and I think this is very beautiful to really keep on coming back to that, because that, I mean, of course, is a stylistic device. So there's a lot in here that you need to analyze, you need to look into the deeper meaning of things. But for me, it was just not as good as I thought it would be, you know? The thing is, Archer is not our typical male lead that we are used to, and I think maybe that was the reason why I was feeling a bit icky. Sometimes he felt like he was still a little boy to me, and I loved him. I loved him so much with all my heart, and I loved both these characters, but I just didn't see how this could wrap up being something that they can both work towards that is healthy. I think it wrapped up very nicely, like the author did a great job actually dealing with those thoughts that I had. They were resolved in a very good and mature way, so that's all I gotta say to that. It's just that these things kept on coming back for me all the time, that it kind of hindered me on falling too hard for these characters, if you know what I mean. Like, I was interested, but I wasn't like, I need to continue reading this book right now. There were moments there were moments where I intentionally had to put it down because I was like, I cannot do this anymore. It's too much trauma, and it felt a bit trauma dumping almost. Like, I don't know. Like, I understand if you hate me right now for this opinion, because I also understand if you love it. Yeah, I'm like in an in-between, you know? I don't think about it every day anymore, and I think that's why it's more a 4-star than a 5-star, but still such a good book. Like, I can still recommend it to you. That's my whole point of this whole monologue right now. I still recommend it to you, but be aware that it's not a silly little goofy time, you know. Now we're gonna move on to a book that I DNF'd actually. I DNF'd It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I DNF'd this 50% into it. I listened to this as an audiobook. I'm glad that I listened as an audiobook. I think otherwise I wouldn't even have done it like 20% in or something. I love the premise. Piper is like this influential socialite. Her stepfather is a millionaire or billionaire, and she's like grown up rich basically. So she's a little bit of a snob, I would say. And then she moves into the small town that her actual father stems from. He died when she was very, very young, so she doesn't remember living there or ever having seen him. But she moves there because she did something that got her punished by her stepfather. So she, as a punishment, actually moves there, not out of her own accord. And we very strongly felt that she didn't want to be there at first. And I think that was also stylistically very well done. But then we meet Brandon, and he is a fisherman. In general, it was all fine. Like, everything was okay about this book, but I just did not care. I did not care. Like, I knew how it was gonna end. They both had their respective traumas that they went through, and it just all felt still a bit surface level. Like, I know Piper, we built her up to be this very in-depth character, like first superficial and unlikable, and then it was supposed to make her more likable throughout the whole book. I understand that. I just didn't care. For me, I was like, I understand what the author is trying to do here, and it's probably, she's doing it well. I'm not saying that. Like, I want Piper to be happy, but I just don't care. Like, I know how it's gonna end. I know how they're gonna end up, like, together. And there was also one thing I need to look at my Goodreads review for a second. Actually, I was 55% into already, because there was one thing, one quote that for me sealed the deal, where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. First of all, Tessa Bailey has an inclination to write a lot of spice, and for me it felt like the spice was well done, but it also, I did not care, you know. For me it was just like, okay, so you're having sex right now. And Piper was someone who wanted to be sexual with him. She wanted this to be a one-time thing. I was like, this poor man, like, this poor man has so much trauma, and you just wanna like get this one and done with. Like, we all know that's not gonna be what it is in the end, you know. So it all felt a little bit like a facade anyways. And then she called his hug a recharging station. Yeah, no, sorry, like, I'm not a Tesla, right? Like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean recharging station? So I understand it's a metaphor, I just didn't fall for it. I was like, this is too silly for me. I couldn't. And also, the guy at one point gave me the ick. He felt like so surface level. Not because I have something against fishermen, it's just, he felt like someone who was just always in a small town, narrow-minded, had nothing else going on in his life than fishing, and then he had his wife back then that I didn't even want to tell you about, actually. And it just felt like his little box was here and Piper's box was a different one, and then they had to try to merge together these boxes that they live in, and it was like, sorry, but no, I don't care. Yeah. So again, understand if you love it, but also please understand that I couldn't do it. It was too much for me. Or too little emotion, maybe. I don't know. Next one, I have it here, like, I'm gonna show it somewhere here. It's Empire of Flame and Thorns. I rated this 4 stars as well. Loved this. It was so good. Such a fun romantasy. I think I read this within a day or two. It was so good. Like, she's a fae rebel and she needs to go into these trials, so she wants to win them because no one ever takes her serious. So she goes into these atonement trials in order to win those. How do I explain this world? So they are faes and they are underneath the dragons. So they are dragon shifters and they are super powerful. And then there's this commander of the dragon shifters that is also within the trials, like coordinating them. And yeah, it's intense. Like, wow, it's such a good explanation. She has like emotional magic, so that's very interesting. I feel like she is not the typical powerful fae that you would expect, but she's still powerful in her own way. She was a bit whiny sometimes, like her inner monologue felt very repetitive, so because she didn't get my points of I love her, it was 1 star less. But what was his name again? Oh, Draven. This man, I swear. Okay, so this was like top tier romantasy for me right now. Like, it was just such a fun, silly time. It was nothing serious, you know? Like, it was a good romantasy. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's the best piece of literature ever to exist, but it was fun. So if you like romantasy, I think you might like that one. And his wings, let's say his wingspan is very big. The next book I'm not gonna talk too much about because it's a German one. It's A Million Stars Above by Ayla Dade. This is very interesting because it's kind of giving The Greatest Showman. Like, they have a big circus show and she is the daughter of the circus director, and then she meets this guy who is also in the show with her. They hate each other, like there is a lot of backstory because his sister died like a year ago or something, and she potentially had something to do with it. For sure her brother did, who's now imprisoned. So there's a lot of drama going on behind the scenes, but we still have this magical circus environment. I think I rated this 3.5 because for me it wasn't as high up as some other books I've read. Like, sometimes the characters gave me a little bit of the ick. It was also really spicy in moments where I was like, why? You know, like, why do we need this right now? It was okay. It was good. Like, if you're German, maybe if you like circus settings or A Million Dreams Are Keeping You Awake, you know, that type of stuff, then maybe that's for you. Okay, next book I also read on my Kindle was Addicted for Now. I finally finished that one. Also 3.5 stars. So Addicted is a whole series. We have Addicted and Addicted Calloway Sisters, if you've heard about it yet. In total it's 10 books, and this is the 3rd one in the series. This one still follows Lily and Lo, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the first half, terrible. I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I think I read this for like 2 months straight. I was so bored. Did not care at all. It felt like the same stuff that happened in the first 2 books. It just felt too repetitive for my liking, but then later on it picked up. So we have an alcoholic and a sex addict, and it's a very toxic dynamic. It's difficult to say because the 2 of them together are still good, you know? I don't know. But like, we have obviously a lot of those topics and how they deal with their respective traumas and addictions. Addictions, that was the word I was looking for. But we also just have so much build up for the next few books in the series that we have always a description of what the other characters are doing, and it just felt like too much sometimes. I was like, am I reading about Lily and Lo, or am I reading about Reich and Daisy, and am I reading about what's her name? Like, you know, it just felt too much sometimes. So it took me like 55 to 60%, and then when it picked up, okay? Like, then the drama was going, and then I was into it, I was hooked, and then I actually finished it within a day or 2. So I can recommend it to you. I think the series is gonna pick up from now on. It was a hard one to get through, to be honest. So yeah, the next one is Lessons in Faking. This is by a German publisher, and I think the author is also German. Her name is Selina May. However, this is an English edition, so she wrote it completely in English. It's beautiful, stunning. It's a sports romance. Didn't get much sports in it, to be honest. The main premise of this is fake dating in college. It felt very... I had to listen to this as an audiobook because I did not care about the characters at all. Again, this was a common theme this month. I just couldn't connect to them. Like, Athalia wants to get back to her brother, like she wants to like basically get even with him because he never gives her any attention and affection, so she's like, I'm gonna date your rival. Very mature decision to make, and this was basically the whole thing of this entire book, that Athalia made decisions that were very self-centered. Her entire inner monologue was very like, I'm gonna do this because I want to, and very childish, very lackluster. Like, everything was just oof. Because we only had her POV. We didn't have Aiden's POV. No, Dylan. Sorry, how did I get to Aiden? What I hated about this, he's called Dylan McCarthy Williams, and I think his name is Dylan, right? Like, his first name is Dylan, and she always called him McCarthy, and I was like, oh my god. Like, even in sex scenes sometimes, like, McCarthy did this, McCarthy did that. Sorry, no. Like, sorry, but why, if you're thinking about him, why don't you call him Dylan? It's so weird to me. It's so weird. I would never call my boyfriend by his last name. And maybe this is an American thing that I just simply do not understand. But I think if you're in an emotionally invested relationship where you're really like together, or you're starting to develop feelings for someone, like it's not just in a friend group, but if you in your mind call your partner by his last name, I think that's weird. Like for me, that was something I could not deal with. So that was a 3-star. Not a lot of stuff happened. It was very like... I couldn't even tell you one thing that happened in this book, actually. Like, I think a lot of people would enjoy this. I understand why it's like in mainstream book publishing now, but for me it wasn't it. Sorry. And I like that we have soccer in here, but also we didn't really get much of that at all. I don't know. Let's just move on from that. Almost finished, guys. Next one is Play Along by Liz Tom Ford or Tom Fordy. Beautiful. Masterpiece. Love it. Favorite one in the series for me right now. Yeah, I don't know how Rewind It Back is gonna turn out, but this one I loved the most. We follow Kennedy and Isaiah, and Kennedy is working, actually she has a doctor's degree, but she's working as an athletic trainer, I think, with the baseball team. And she used to be engaged. Now she's not anymore. Just saying. And Isaiah has had a crush on her since the first day they met, which was like 3 or 4 years ago. They, one night, when she's not engaged anymore, they get very drunk, married in Vegas, and it was so funny. Like this whole chapter where they're supposed to be drunk was really well written, actually. I could hear it in my head. I was like, I know exactly how you're feeling, you know. It was so funny. And in general, now I really felt like the found family aspect of it all, it was always something new happening. There were a lot of dynamics. The characters were very in detail and in depth. I loved Isaiah. Like, he's such a softie at heart. I love it. And he always wants to make people smile. It's just beautiful. Like, there's so much to it. And like this whole premise of a marriage in Vegas, I'm just obsessed. So they have to keep up this, they basically have to fake being together so that she doesn't lose her job. So basically it's also fake dating, and I'm just, it was so wholesome, it was so cute. So 5 stars. Can really recommend this one. And it was spicy. The other ones were a little bit spicy, or I felt like it was good spice, but this one, oh, that window scene. The last fiction book that I finished this month was Holding the Reins by Paisley Hope. This is a book recommendation for you if you want to have a spicy old time, you know, like funny, spicy time. Why did I say old? What? So this is surface level good. Why am I throwing it around like that? We have Cece and Nash Carter, and Cece is basically like out of a toxic relationship. Now she moves back into her hometown. Nash is this retired hockey superstar. He always wears a cowboy hat, that type of stuff, you know. And she is now working as his accountant. So it's very cute. A lot of trauma that unravels. I started annotating this when I first started reading it, and then I put it down, and now I continued it as audiobook. And guys, like, this audiobook is super good. I can recommend this audiobook to you. Super good, really. Like, the accents in this one, the mother cracked me up. I love it. So if you're gonna continue reading the series, or if you contemplate about reading it, definitely pick up the audiobook. It was a solid 4-star for me. Sometimes it felt a bit cliche. It felt a bit like, we know where this is going. Why are you saying it like that? You know, it just sometimes felt a little bit typical romance. But as I said, it's fun, it's spicy, and every Sunday morning, that's what I love about this. Every Sunday morning, there's girls' night in this town, or women's night out. I'm editing right now, and honestly, no comment. Sunday morning, girls' night, sure. Yeah, it indeed is girls' night, and it indeed takes place in the evening. Thank you very much. No further comment. The whole town knows already on Monday we're gonna all have a woman be hungover. It's so fun. Like, Mondays are then the chill days in this town. I Feel Like a Woman was, or Man, I Feel Like a Woman was like a main song that just happened in the first part of this book. And in general, we have a lot of country music references, or like just, is it even country music, or is it just like nostalgic music maybe? And we have a lot of good music references here, that's for sure. It was really good, but I'm not gonna read it again, you know? Like, but still fun. Like, it's a fun summer book. But luckily, we're now moving into fall, which I'm very, very excited about. So let me know if you want to maybe have a fall TBR video. I can make that one for you. I have a lot of books that I actually want to read, and I'm also contemplating about making a fall reading vlog. If you still want to see the non-fiction books, the 2 ones that I've read, stay on here. And otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful and blissful day, and I'm gonna see you when I see you next. I hope next week. Thank you so much for watching. I love each and every one of you. Bye. And now to the ones that are still stuck here with me. Just a heads up, I was always a spiritual girly. This year I fell a little bit into a burnout. I was really just tired of everything and I couldn't for the life of me feel like I could get back on it. And then my therapist, she actually told me like, you need to get back like into reading non-fiction books. You need to get back into who you are at your core, like connect again with your soul. I know you're spiritual, so get that part of yourself back. And that's what I've been really working on right now. I'm really working on trusting my instincts and trusting my soul and trusting the divine order of everything. So if that's something for you, then yeah, that makes sense. Okay, my camera had overheated, but we're back now, I hope. I don't know what I was saying before, so just so you know, these are a bit more spiritual books right now. I'm also not rating those, to be honest, but I'm still gonna give you my opinion, of course. The first book is The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Guys, if I say to you this book changed my life completely, I can highly recommend you to pick this one up. So I was asking for signs and I was one day just cycling back from uni. I don't stop at all. Usually I just go straight home because I just want to go into bed. No, but like, why would I, you know? But then we always have these little free libraries along the way, and the sun was shining on this one little free library, and my intuition, like something deep inside of me, told me, go there right now. So I stopped my bike, went there, and I was like just looking through, sifting through, didn't see anything I liked. I was about to close it and then I saw the name Dr. Wayne Dyer and I was like, I know this name. Then I pick up exactly this book that I had saved 5 days prior on my Goodreads because I was like, I want to read it. I want to like read this book. So I had it already in my Amazon basket, but it didn't have the edition that I wanted, which was this one. And I was like, how can that be that this book that got published over 20 years ago suddenly shows up in my life 5 days after I had just saved it, or like a few days later. I don't even know if it was 5 days or just a few, but I had saved it on my Goodreads. I had it in my Amazon basket and I was just holding off to buy it, and then I was like, this fell into my lap, you know? So everything said in this felt even more real to me because it felt like it was channeled through these words to get to me in that moment, if that makes any sense. I don't think it's supposed to make sense though, you know? Sometimes life just throws things at you and you need to just go with them. So yeah, that's why I annotated this so heavily. That's why I studied this for like 2 months straight, and it is really a beautiful, beautiful book. Dr. Wayne Dyer, beautiful words that he found for things, and at first it felt a bit wishy-washy, but woo-woo type of stuff, but to be honest, like the way I found this book, I started to believe again, you know? I started to fully believe in the words that were being said in here. It felt like a message. This is forever gonna have a special place in my heart. I know I'm gonna read this multiple times in my life, so contemplate picking this one up. Like, I don't want to say too much. It's about the power of intention, and intention is basically a force inside the universe that creates everything around us. We are made of intention, trees are made of intention, everything is there because of intention. And yeah, it's just a very interesting like thing to read about. So yeah, I can really recommend this one. And then a book I picked up hoping for the same result was Spiritual Activator by Oliver Nino. This is this German edition, but I do know that it is actually published in English. No, I don't want to recommend this to you. The things he said were not wrong, and I don't think I'm in any way in a position to say if they're right or wrong. However, I did Google him and I did not feel a good vibe from him. It did not feel like, I mean, whatever he said here, he referred to his website and stuff. All of this wasn't there. I couldn't find one single thing. It felt like one big scam to me. I don't know. I don't trust it, you know? So I finished this book just to say that I did finish it. I think there are still good exercises in here, but I don't fully trust him as a person. And that's just all I want to say to that. I don't know if you've heard about him before. I personally did not. And it was just all a bit weird to me. I don't know. I got a weird vibe from that. So these are all the 13 books I read this month, last month. It's crazy. It was a lot. That's why we yapped for so long. But thank you so much for watching again. And yeah, I hope that this little part of also more spiritual talk and mindset talk maybe also helped you or is interesting to you. I really briefly just brushed over it because I don't really want to go too much into detail in case this is not something you're interested in. So please let me know if this aligns with your belief systems, if this aligns with something that you would like to see more. I would also contemplate maybe making a new channel about that if that's something you're curious about. So just let me know, and if not, then I also know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful and blissful day, and I want to see you when I see you. Bye!